G'day, how you going? Craig here. Thought I'd show you some of our garden and update. I've got two compost piles going here. I have had it tarped up, but because we've got a bit of rain and it's been hot and dry, I've had trouble keeping moisture into the compost pile, so I've opened them up to let a bit of rain come over the crust, and if they get too wet I'll have to open them up and dry them out a little bit and when I turn them. So anyway, let's go for a bit of a wander up our food forest here. This is our mulberry tree. It's 3 years old, this tree, and we had fruit on it last year. It was starting to fruit this year, and then October we had a really bad cold snap and we lost all the fruit and burned off, but it's bounced back all right. And you can see the mulch and the compost that we got around here. This is a honey locust tree. Come up here. I did have a tree in here, but it passed away. Can't remember what I had in there. Another honey locust. One of our she oaks. And our fig tree. We planted that over winter time, and you can see how there's fruit coming on it. Now this pit here was about 1.5 metres square by 800 deep, and during the mouse plague I filled it up with rodents that we caught, and that fig tree is thriving in the blood and bone environment. This is one of our currajongs. You can see it coming here. We've had to put the barrels around it to protect them from the hares. Another she oak. These are a Cootamundra wattle. When we bought these, we planted these about 3 years ago. They're only about 2 inch high as seedlings in tube stock. This is another one of our currajongs coming up. Come up, come up, come up. She oak. And look how high this barrel is. You can see that we've got barrels around in the paddocks here, and there's currajongs growing in here. Now if you have a look in here, see how it's just nearly up to the top of the second last tyre, and that currajong was as small as the one over there, and the birds have chewed it down and the hares have got to it and she's bouncing back. That's a tree lucerne in there, and doesn't appear to be going any good. They don't grow real well in this area of a tree lucerne. Another tree lucerne that we lost. Come up here, another currajong in here. Love my currajong trees. You can see how it's coming up. This is our black mulberry. The first mulberry tree that I showed you is a white mulberry, which is a bit more frost resistant. I've mulched everything here, and with the rain and that we've had, I've turned the grass over this morning, and that's a tree lucerne. This one's going reasonably well. Honey locust in here, which the bugs got to and a hare chewed on. Got a little pumpkin vine growing. In here's a jujube berry. Got chewed out by the bugs, but it's going all right. One of our cherry trees. And our other cherry tree over here. We planted them this winter. You can see how I got some timber bits and branches on the ground here. Well, the trees live on fungus, and fungus grows from timber. Plants live on bacteria, which comes from mulch and grass and that. So this is our almond tree. You can see how it's got a dead trunk there. It died off in the October cold snap that we had, and all these branches are grown since October out of a root system. Our pear trees, you can see how I've turned the mulch here, and over in the distance there you can see one of my Currajong trees. I don't know, I think this might be Williams pear, this one. I'm not entirely sure about that. Our lavender growing here, you can see how I've turned the mulch recently to let the air get into it and the rain. This is another pear tree. This one here, I think it's a Japanese pear tree. I'm not sure of the exact name of it. I've lost the tag. This is another Currajong tree here. There's a pile of timber that I milled up from my neighbour. And we come over here. This is our swale, and this is our California pepper tree. And just show you what the swale looks like. Bit of a ditch. All this is level here and it's on contour and catches water. When heavy rainfall, it fills up. So we come along here. This section here of the food forest is a new one. It's about 12 months old and we're gradually building it up as we go along. And I've mulched these beds here, as you can see. There's bits of wood on the ground under the mulch. That's a pomegranate. Coming along here, come along here. That's another pomegranate in there. We had a bay tree up where that little post is and it passed away. At the end of that garden there's another honey locust. These were all tiny tube stock when I put them in. So come up here. This is an olive tree. Another honey locust. Another honey locust in there. Come along. I've mulched all this berm here of a swale. That's a silky oak tree, Grevillea robusta. There's a little eucalypt that's come up on its own, which we'll deal with. Come up, come up, come up, come up, come up. And these are our Tagagassis going here. These two are going all right. I had a third one there and it died. So we come down here and we're into the more established food garden. Hello Jackster, look at his little leg there, he's coming good. Silly bugger ran into my brush cutter when I was cutting down some weeds and near cut his leg off. Anyway, he's coming good now. So this is mulch. Come up, come up, come up. That's a Persian silk tree. Our Bizia rhythms. Some mint. I think that's chocolate mint in there. A bit of millet that's come up. Our comfrey plants. Come up, come along. Mulch, mulch, mulch. There's an apple tree. Yeah, I think that's a red delicious apple, that one. Come along here. And then we've got tree lucerne. Anyway, we spin around. There's our messy water tank. There's our Cootamundra wattle, another peppercorn tree there in between. Come around here, got a bit of, got a mental blank on what that, amaranth growing there. There's our lime tree. I've picked a couple of limes. This is the first year they're fruited and it's going well. I had a couple of citrus moth laid caterpillars eggs on and I've pulled the caterpillars off. There's another Persian silk tree, rosemary, and our jacaranda tree. We've lost that jacaranda tree 2 years in a row with the frost, and it keeps growing back like that. And now that we've mulched all that, I'm hoping that this year it'll thrive, survive winter. Anyway, that's a lemon verbena. I'll just poke the head over here. And I've given it a good prune and chopped and dropped it onto the ground. And it would look a little bit worse for wear with some of the colds. You can see some of the logs here, our cucumbers growing through here. You can see our zucchini growing, massive zucchini. This is the first year I've grown this. Usually we grow blackjack and you can see the zucchini, our apple tree, and I've got the tag inside for that apple tree. I'm not sure. We planted them, this tree and this tree we planted this winter. and just gone, and we come up our strawberry patch, and I've just banged in a couple of posts to hold these slabs in, because I'm going to cover this thickly, fill it up with mulch. There's our comfrey plants are going well. Over here, that's our sage, beautiful little plant. Our stevia. This one here is our midgie berry, and I got another one growing over here, but the chickens keep scratching her up. Come over here, got a citrus there. It was a tangelo that died, and this, what's growing there is coming out of a root system. Don't know if it's going to be any good, but I've got a finger lime there to plant, and if it doesn't go any good, this whatever fruit it produces, I'm going to graft some of the finger limes onto it and grow from there. This is another honey locust, and it's beauty. I grew beans up on it this year. You can see some of the beans come up around the mulch, and that's about buried it down. But my object here is I'm going to grow this up over head high, prune all the branches up until head high, let it spread out as a canopy. Honey locusts have a huge thorns, and you can see how I've been going along cutting the thorns off, and I've actually missed that one there, so they're quite sharp and nasty, but I just pulled them. There's another one I missed. So but yeah, I cut them off with the secateurs, and it's going to be a beautiful shade tree for summertime, because it gets very, very hot here, and then in winter time it'll drop its leaves and let shade in when the plants need it. I did have some blueberries here, but they never did very good in here, sadly. And our locust tree, which we planted beginning of spring, I think we planted this one, and she's going really good. Locust trees grow really well in this area. Come around, come around, come around. This is our lemon tree. She going beauty. Yeah. Heaps of fruit, heaps of flowers. This is a jujube berry. I've outplanted 3 trees from a friend's orchard. Do have to keep an eye on them, because they do spread like wildfire in tropical areas. Not so much here, where it's usually a bit drier. You can see how I mulched the swale wall here. This is our olive tree. I think it's a Kalamata olive tree. We got that from our neighbour down in, when we lived down St Mary's in Sydney, and he planted in front of his place, and some idiot vandals come and uprooted them, left them on the ground, so I was able to salvage it and replanted it and in the hole for him, and they got uprooted again, and a few days later I found it, put it in a pot, and I nursed it, and I told him, and he said, "Oh, don't worry, Craig, you can have that tree. Thanks for your effort." And we had it in a pot, and then we, when we moved, it was at my father-in-law's place, and we never looked after it there. And then we brought it up here, and we planted it here, and yeah, she's, considering the abuse it's copped, it's going okay. Anyway, we come around here, our other honey locust, a locust tree, and we recently found out, these trees haven't produced any fruit yet, but we recently found out that the juvenile leaves make a very good, healthy tea, and the Japanese have been drinking it for decades, or hundreds of years. And anyway, this is our other olive tree. It's coming good, going okay. Reverse of our stevia. Yeah. Tomatoes are near the end of their life now. Yeah, more zucchini, more zucchini, more zucchini, more zucchini, more zucchini. And we come over here, and I won't show you. Oh, that's our chook pen over there. Yeah. So that's the tour of our food forest in progress.